It is April 20, 2020, also known as 420. And I brought along some really special guests with me today to join us for a little afternoon high. So today's theme is happiness. Grab a cocktail and let's get it going. Afternoon high. So today's theme is happiness. Okay. Going. Miss Becky Hastetler, all the way from Denver, Colorado. Becky, thanks so much for playing for us today. I wish our sound quality, I'm not sure what's going on, but I wish our audience could hear you the way I've been hearing you. So you just released an album recently called Geranium under the name Belhas. That's the band that you recorded with?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for having me, first of all. I'm sorry, sound quality isn't great either. It's so hard.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. I feel Zoom, you know what? The thing with what we're doing is, we're battling technology on a constant daily basis.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry that
Yeah.
it's not working out the way it should for you. But I mean, tell us, I mean, well,
Okay.
let's just get into our interview, okay? So tell me about Belhas. Where does the name come from? I'm assuming partially from your name,
Um,
right?
yeah, pretty much for my name. I um was starting to perform just like a couple years ago. And I've usually been very private with the music that I write, and felt too weird to come up, and like was actually starting to do enough performances to where I had to come up with something. And I didn't want to use my own name. Like Becky is a bit of a problematic straight stage name. Like for me, I love my name. I appreciate my mom giving it to me, but as a stage name, I don't know. It also felt like too personal. Like I'd be really exposing myself, so it felt like a step away. But I also felt like it was too douchey to come up with some like
I
other name for a project. So
so
it
now
is like
oh,
my name. Like, yeah,
so I know that you play solo and sometimes with a band you kind of flip flop. I mean, when you play solo, do you still go by the name Belhas? Is that how you typically introduce
yeah,
yourself? Yeah,
yeah. Just
awesome.
like it's either I'm Belhas or we're Belhas, or I usually say I usually start out and show a show going, hi, my name's Becky, and this project is Belhas. So I like really try to separate myself from it. Um,
Awesome.
just
So, and
for
then
like, yeah,
you came into, so you said you kind of only just started performing out, fairly recently within the past 3 years. I mean, what changed your mind from going from I'm keeping this personally to myself to I'm gonna take this out and tour, and you had touring plans and record an album. I mean, that's a huge jump. So what made you change your mind?
um, my career path, I actually moved to Denver from California to get my master's, and I really just I wanted to go into public service. Was working at a government job, and I just felt really listless. And I had a friend tell me, like, say give me really cool advice at that job, and she was like, you got to find something fulfilling outside of work. You can't just depend on work. And it was such like a revelation to figure that out. And at the time I was like, well, I'm far from most of my family. Like, I like don't have a significant other. Screw it. I'm gonna just start going to open mics. And really my like personal philosophy, I guess, that's like kind of aggrandizing for it, but my personal thing has been um just to keep going until there's a lot of doors that close. So I've just been like putting my nose to the grindstone with it and just being like, okay, well, this seems like the logical next step. I'm just gonna do this. Like, I went to open mics. I was getting good feedback, and so I was like, you know what? I know how to send emails. I'll send emails to venues. Like, and I love going to local shows. I met a bunch of people. And after playing around Denver for a while, I was like, I think I'm ready to play other places. Like, I guess it was like play Denver, like a couple friends wanted to play in a band with me, which is crazy to me, but it was really, I feel really like grateful for that. And so that's how the band happened. And so having a band and recording, and then after recording an album, I'm like, okay, I have a product to tour with. So I just, yeah, decided to
Well,
start touring. I don't know.
the album's fantastic. I love it. And again, for those back
Thank
home
you.
listening, please take a moment to look up Belhas. It's unfortunate that our situation is what it is right now because you have a real like throwback to the 90s. And I hear a lot of like Mazzy Star, like, but that was the first thing that came to mind, like when I was listening to you. For anybody who knows who Mazzy Star is, like from the 90s, your voice kind of resonates a familiar sound like that. And it's really cool. And all your very well written, beautiful. I love it. I love that entire album. I've listened to it several times since we've been in contact. So, and then that's on all streaming services currently, right? You have it on Spotify. I know that's where I was listening to. Is it on iTunes? Probably It's like all
Yeah,
bundled together.
the whole thing.
Awesome. Who did the artwork?
My friend Sam, Samantha Fowler, she goes by, her handle on Instagram is Sam Illustrates. So it's just SAM and then illustrates. She's fantastic. Um, so she's got this like cute, spooky vibe that she like expresses in a lot of her art that I really wanted in kind of, all these songs talk a lot about like the therapy process I've been going through with like, family stuff. And so having that cute vibe and then like like tiny bit of like a haunted vibe with the cute monsters, um, is like, it's kind of like light and stuff that has been very heavy for me and like feels, I don't know how heavy it feels for other people in the songs, but some of the songs, like even a couple of songs on the album, I don't play as much because it's just a lot of, it's kind of heavy for me. But yeah, she is so great. I recommend following her. Yeah, so, and
Yeah,
if you have any
very
illustration
cool
needs,
style. I enjoyed it.
yes.
Like I noticed that she
So
did like your touring poster too. So like very cool. I mean, how's
yes.
it feel to have this is your first album that you've released? I mean, are you elated? Like how's it feel to have I mean, how cool, right? I remember the first time I put out an album, I was
Yeah,
like so stoked. You gotta feel so good. I mean, who could
I
not
do.
many people could say they put out an album,
Yes,
you
and
know?
thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And also thank you for the compliments. This is so cool. Like, I, I'm a little, I think I'm just staying incredulous. Like, it's kind of wild to have like a product like that, you know? So if I like put my head up for long enough, I'm gonna be like too scared to go on. But yeah, it just makes me really grateful for the friends I have. That's like always what I talk about is like, it's the friends that I have. Like my one of my bassists, she also recorded and mixed this album, and then my guitarist, he mastered it. Like they both have audio engineering degrees. Like a lot, I've just made a lot of friends with all these awesome skills and experience, and like who are really in it um, to do music like professionally. And I think I just looked out that they wanted to like invest their time and energy in this project. Like that's what the feeling I go to is just being so super grateful, because I like started to believe in myself out of desperation because I was so frustrated with where I was at career wise. But like I can't, like, this is so cliche, but I don't really believe in myself without other people reassuring me.
Well, you know what? It's I think you're not the only one on that as an artist, you know. Like we all have some storms in our head, right? But I mean, so I mean, you be keep ugh, I can't talk. So,
Totally cool.
you mentioned Denver. I mean, you're not from Denver, but the community there, I mean, Denver has blown up, it seems like in the past since 2014, I actually researched. It was 2014 that Denver started coming on the rise, and where its music scene really started to thrive. I mean, you guys have Red Rocks near you. You have some tight music venues that came about on the scene. It sounds like the open mic scene is great there. I mean, how has that community shaped you, shaped your confidence, shaped your writing? I mean, do you feel like you owe something to Denver for this album even?
Absolutely. um, yeah, this scene is, I think, for one, a lot more my style than like I grew up in LA. Well, okay. It's such a nuanced thing, but probably like New York, where I didn't grow up in LA. I grew up in Orange County, but I grew up close enough to LA to where that's the music scene I was closest to, and I was so intimidated. People moved to LA for entertainment. I was like, no way. Like, so I think I had to be in Denver. It's just a lot more my style in terms of Denver. It's like, for better or for worse, Denver is very much based on friendships. The scene is so a lot of, it's all networking, and regardless of where you are. But a lot of what has opened doors for me was making like legitimate friendships with people, and just being kind to people, and also opening doors for other people as much as I can, like, and just trying to be supportive of other people. Like, I love hearing about other local projects, um, and going to local shows. And I really say, actually, like, I literally had at one point on Saturday night, I had two different friends live streams going on, just to like emulate the feeling of going to multiple shows, or like of talking to someone during a show. I like that's I think what that's the way, like, I feel like Denver's music scene really works, which is really cool in a lot of ways, and definitely something that I feel like I've benefited from. So yeah, and
So
I that's kind of funny. Yeah. Oh,
I'm really
sorry. Yeah,
happy
it's funny
that
that
no,
2014.
it's okay. I don't mean
Yeah,
to interrupt. I was just gonna say I'm happy that you found yourself in music and that music found you. And sometimes it just takes a move. Like for me, I built my career in Rochester, New York, a place I never thought I'd live. Like I'm from Long Island and
that's so
I
fun.
went to college up here. But I feel the very same way.
Cool.
Like I owe my career to this community. Like we have a really tight community here. If you ever come visit, I'd love to show you around. Um, but yeah,
Oh, thank
it's we
you.
have a tight community here, and it's like we got a really great music scene, amazing artists, and it just kind of helped me build my confidence. Like I never even thought I'd be doing something like this, but it's balls to the walls right now, so that's why we're here. So I got one more question. I have to ask it because it's 420. And you live
Right.
in a city where one of the first cities where cannabis was legalized for leisure,
Hmm.
pretty much. Do you think that the state's legalization of cannabis had any effect on the city's boom? Like even the boom in the music industry or creativity in general? Just an opinion that I'm curious about.
Right. Um, I know. I saw that question and I was like, I don't know, because I I know it's kind of funny that you noticed that the boom happened in 2014, and that's also like January 1st, 2014 was when marijuana was legalized for recreational use. Um, and so it's very possible. Um I feel bad. I'm not like a huge I'm a CBD fan. I wish I could handle THC, but it doesn't work well with my system. But I I guess it's a really good question. I don't know if I could answer it with like a real, like, with real expertise. Like, when I was really when it still felt new, um I was in the agriculture industry, writing about animal feed. So a lot of what I was thinking about is, oh, people are putting like marijuana or like CBD and THC in dog treats, or like, so that's like what I was thinking about. And I don't use it a ton. I use CBD for more like to calm down and like for inflammation, and I love it. And I feel like that does help with a lot of my stress, and that's where I'm coming from with it. But with THC, I think it's very possible that it has um, really
It affects
enhanced the
everybody
Denver scene.
so differently,
Yeah,
like its effect on
yeah,
everyone is different. But I mean, I think it's possible, like I just found it very
yeah.
coincidental, like with the timing and, it made me think about it because a lot of people that I know that are marijuana users, including, somebody I know very well, like it definitely boosts creativity and it's known for that. So I wonder. I just kind of wanted to
Yeah,
get your take on it. And since you're a CBD fan, I mean,
right.
there's no better show to be on considering our next guest, Steve Vandewall, is a leading expert and activist in the booming cannabis industry, and he has CBD oils. So maybe you
Ooh,
might want to check out his product too. But
that's
Becky,
exciting.
thank you so much for giving us your time. And please, to our audience back home, please check out Bell House, the LHOSS.
Yeah,
Check
yeah.
them out on Spotify. If you have Spotify, check them. I mean, you have a Bandcamp website as well, Becky.
Yes.
Where else could they find your music?
I mean, they could go to bellhouse.com. They could go, it's just BELLHOSS on Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, the most of the places, iTunes, Apple Music.
And
So,
Facebook too. I know it's on Facebook. So please, please, guys, do me a service here and check her out. She's amazing. The album is really gold. I love it. And best wishes to you. I hope your tour resumes when all this ends. And if you ever come out to New York, I'm happy we're connected. If you ever come out to New York, let me know. I hopefully could help
it's
you in
in the
some
plans.
small way. I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah,
Good.
it
Well,
was gonna be an East Coast tour this summer, but it's on the list.
yeah.
I'm researching.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Don't worry. If I could help in any small ways, I promise to do so.
Thank
So, Becky,
you.
thank you. So, going back to what I just mentioned, Steve Vandewall, he's a leading expert and activist in the booming cannabis industry, and he is our next guest. Steve, what's up?
What's up, man? Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being had. Tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about your company and what you've been working on for the past few years.
Yeah, so Tiva Naturals is a company that I started about 2.5 years ago. And I actually got into cannabis on accident. I had kind of started my entrepreneurial journey 5 years ago in men's fashion. But with entrepreneurship and all the highs and lows that comes with it, I found myself having some insomnia issues, some anxiety issues, and wound myself up on a handful of pretty hard, not hard, but like tough pharmaceutical drugs. I've never been a big pill guy, and I had found myself on a bunch of different drugs to kind of handle these ups and downs that I was having, and ended up just getting a dark place, a place that I never really thought I'd get to. But I had a friend who's a nurse practitioner introduced me to a CBD product a few years ago and said, "Hey, I've been using this for sleep. You should try it. I think it might help." And I started using it before bed. And within 30 days, I had taken myself off of 90% of my medications. And from there, I
Wow.
was just kind of, developed this obsession with understanding how is it that this plant, this weed that's been locking people up for years in prison, how could this thing that you could grow in your backyard have such substantial medicinal power? I mean, if you think about all the different ailments that people are using medical cannabis for: anxiety, depression, cancer, nausea from chemotherapy, ALS, epilepsy, some really serious ailments, and cannabis is proving to be one of the leading medicines for all these different drugs. So the last 2 years, I've really spent a lot just understanding why this plant works. What is the biochemistry in this plant that makes it so medicinal? And really was focused on formulating my own line of plant medicine. My goal is to be able to create a lifestyle brand where people can, start to resort to plant medicine as an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs.
So awesome. I mean, what is the first reaction? I mean, even typical reaction that you get when you tell people what your line of business is?
Yeah, it's definitely changed over the years. At first, it was like, "Oh, so you're a legal drug dealer?" I was like, I guess." And a lot of people still don't realize that hemp, which is really, marijuana's cousin, was legalized federally in 2018. And that's where a lot of CBD products come from. So as of 2018, CBD and hemp are federally legal as tomatoes, right? But people didn't really grasp the idea that hemp, this marijuana's cousin, was legal So I used to, when I was delivering products, people would want to meet me in parking lots to give them CBD. And I was like, this is like as benign as, a vitamin D supplement. But, it's, now that, our state is really taking a really open-minded approach to legalization. It's a really hot topic. Most people are really interested. It kind of went from this kind of shun, oh, you're in the cannabis industry, to a lot of people ask a lot of really good questions, and I think people are starting to come out of the cannabis closet, users and people who are interested in getting into this industry, because it is a fascinating industry. And New York's really close to legalizing. I think we would have legalized this month, but obviously amidst the pandemic, everything legislatively got put on hold. But yeah, we're really close to legalizing here in our state.
I don't know what's taken so long. I just feel, especially now, I always felt that there's such a bad stigma built around marijuana. And I mean, for all the reasons, the positive reasons you just stated, like not everybody that smokes pot is a mess. Like I think most people just think that, oh, marijuana, so you're just going to be like loopy or giggling in a corner or like eating lots of snacks. Like I think it really, I mean, it's proven medically, like you're saying, like it does a lot of good for people, and there's healthy benefits to it. Not even, I mean, aside physically, but mentally too. I mean, did you ever feel like judged from people that you told? Like I know you said probably more so in the past than now, but did anybody ever kind of be like, oh, like look at you like, oh, you're like a deadbeat because your line of work is cannabis?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely kind of, we're very polarized in our country now. So you have, folks who are more conservative who still look at cannabis through this reefer madness lens, and then you have, more of the more liberal and progressive and young side of, folks who are really open to cannabis as plant medicine. So, I realized that the thing about cannabis is that once you understand how it works and you can get past the reefer madness stigma, there's no way that, you can't be interested. There's something really unique about a plant that produces, over 250 different chemicals within one plant that work very synergistically with the human body. I mean, there's really no other natural resource that has the type of biological synergy that cannabis has with the human body. It's a complete anomaly. So when I understood that and really knew that, a few years ago, and I knew that as more and more people caught on, it would be a lot more, open and less judged. But nowadays, I mean, most people are really into it. You'll still get your naysayers who, think it's just a drug or think it's a gateway drug. The gateway drug theory was cannabis leads to harder drugs. Cannabis is not a gateway drug. It's an exit drug. It's now being used to treat other substance use disorders like opiate use disorder, alcoholism. People are now turning to cannabis as healthier alternatives to these harder drugs. So, for me, you're always going to have haters, but it's really about an education process, because, my whole career has been about educating people on this plant. And you can't be upset when people aren't as familiar with the topic as I am, because, most older folks have been taught, in DARE that cannabis is bad, marijuana is bad, and it's like, you have to really kind of re-educate people on a whole history of, reefer madness. So, long story short, I don't really, run into a whole lot of adversity anymore when it comes to people's opinions. It generally just takes a little bit of education for all of us to be on the same page.
Sure. So, and tell us about your product, Tiva.
Tiva.
Could you,
Yep.
Tiva? I figured I was pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so like I said, I've always been interested in the medical side and the plant medicine side of cannabis. There's really two schools of thought that I've merged into one. You have historically, cannabis has been used as a medicine for thousands of years. It's becoming a much more prominent medicine now. But also non-cannabis medicinal herbs have been used for thousands of years. You look at things like valerian root or chamomile or lavender, or things that have all been used historically for things like anxiety or insomnia and depression. So you have these two schools of thought where people are using two different types of botanicals individually, and they both worked really well. My hypothesis is built on, but what happens when you combine them and you combine the medicinal powers of cannabis and you combine the medicinal powers of non-cannabis herbs. And so with that hypothesis, I started formulating products and figuring out how do these go together, because they all kind of work together in their own unique ways. So I built out a product line that is much more designed for specific ailments. So our first 3 products that we're going to be launching next month are a sleep product, an anxiety product, and a recovery product, really that's been designed for athletes to be taken after recovery. But yeah, it's been really interesting. It's been a lot of learning and researching. But the world of plant medicine, how many people die? 22 people die a day from opiate overdoses. Like, we have all these drugs that are like knowingly killing people. I mean, Chris, we're in the middle of an opiate epidemic, and we have alternative things like cannabis that are just as effective as opiates with virtually no side effects. So I think this is really the beginning of new medicine. Some of our, as an activist, some of our biggest cannabis prohibitionists are the big pharmaceutical companies, because what we see in states that have legalized, especially states like Colorado, is that when you legalize cannabis for adult use, you start to see an average of like a 15% decline in use in alcohol, tobacco, and pharmaceutical drugs. So these bigger companies that have, historically made billions of dollars on pharmaceutical drugs are now starting to see a hit on their bottom line. So it's really like the big corporate interests that are in the middle of like, stopping this movement. But it's such a tremendously powerful movement. It's a true grassroots movement. And I think New York is really going to be next on the list to legalize for adult use. And I think it's going to do some really wonderful things for our state.
Well, I sure hope so, and I look forward to that. And so where can people outside of New York State purchase your product, and locally too? Because we have a lot of Rochester.
Yeah, so I'm a little hesitant to share this, but I will. So TivaCBD.com is up and running, but it is an old website that I built myself before we had these new formulations. It's the old brand, so you can find us at TivaCBD.com. But we just finished our rebrand. I have an excellent new team. We're well capitalized, so we're going to be launching a brand new website, a brand new line of products in the next month. So stay tuned. I'll follow up with everybody when we go live.
Awesome. Steve, thank you so much for your time. And a big thank you again to Becky Hostetler of Denver, Colorado. I'm going to leave everybody off with just a few closing words. Today's theme was happiness. And as we sink a little bit further deeper into this pandemic, I know I'm speaking on behalf of my own account, that it's very easy to get down, to feel a little depressed, and unsure and uncertain of what's happening right now. So, little reminder that happiness starts with you. Yes, you. Hold yourself accountable. If you find it from within yourself to be happy, everything else will follow. Life will be a lot less stressful. People will be a lot less annoying. Everything else will be a bit more bearable than before. So I'm going to give you a few little tips to keep yourselves happy. Number 1 is start with the little things. Pay attention to what's good and what's there. Find the good and the bad and the ugly. Be positive in negative situations, because life is so much better if you can wake up every single day with a grateful heart. This will not only help you grow as a person, but will also help you become an inspiration to other people. Number 2, don't be scared of love. Love is all we need. We talked about this 2 episodes back. We need to love ourselves. We need to love other people. We need to let other people love us the way we deserve. Number 3, let go. Let the hatred go. Let the expectations go. Learn how to forgive. Let go of the things that are stopping you from doing what you think is going to make you grow into the person you're meant to become. Let go of the worries that stop you from enjoying your day. Let go of the people who make you feel unworthy of love. Forgive yourself for all your mistakes and your flaws, because those are the things that make you beautiful. Let go of the need to please other people. Let go of comparing what you have with what other people have. Let go of wanting more and start practicing contentment. Breathe and just let go. And most of all, always thank the high and mighty that you have, no matter what. Always thank the high and mighty for no matter what you have. Everything will fall into place when the time is right. Just be patient. Big thank you, Steve Vanderwall. Big thank you, Becky Hastetler. I wish you guys so much success. Bigger thank you, not that you guys aren't important there, but huge thank you to Mr. Bo Productions for putting this all together and always making our set look phenomenal. And that's all I got for you guys today. Please join us back here this Wednesday with a brand new show, Afternoon Cocktail. Have a great day.